This weather has just been whoopee. We debated whether to postpone. We knew some people may not be able to make it. We had 25 people sign up, and so it was just a decision we made. That's why we sent out the email to see who was going to make it. It was for food too. We didn't want to get too much food, but so very happy you made it. That means you found a way out of your driveway or off your street, so that's good. You're resourceful, let's say that. My name is Franny Knight. I am the owner of Urban Cool KC team. We have our brokerage under Keller Williams, just so we're not our own brokerage, just so that you know that, which for us gives us a lot of, we talked about being our own brokerage and company, but we get a lot of support from Keller Williams that makes it easier for us to do the work that we do. So if you see any Keller Williams in any of our handouts, I didn't want you to be confused. Well, why? Where's Keller Williams? Who? What? So that's who we are. But we've been in business for 18 years. My husband, he's not here today. He's actually been a realtor for 20 years. Marissa Beatty is my stepdaughter, my husband's daughter. She's been a realtor for 10? 9 years. So combined, we have almost 40 years, 50 years of experience. I can do that. So from the beginning, when we started doing business, we wanted to serve Kansas City in a unique way in helping people to get affordable housing, to use all of Kansas City, not just the hot pot. You know, like we wanted to expand out to the east side, to the northeast. We also work KCK. It's something that we really believe. We have such beautiful neighborhoods and housing. I mean, I fell in love. I'm not from Kansas City, I'm from Wichita, Kansas. And the housing stock we have in really the east side is absolutely just beautiful houses. And I'm a preservationist, and so if we can get people buying these houses and not letting them be torn down and so forth. So that's always been my mission with Urban Cool KC. We spread that mission through our Facebook page. You may have found us. Who has found us through Facebook? Instagram? I think it was Facebook. How did you find us? Oh. Yeah, that's right. And Thomas and Mamba, how did
What
you?
did we do?
That's you.
We were looking up Kansas City events, and you guys popped up.
Hey, there you go.
On Eventbrite or
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it was something
Marketing
like
dollars
we were looking up like conventions in Kansas City to see what was coming up.
Planning our years.
Somehow this ended up on the calendar.
Love it. Love it, love it.
So 2025, we have ramped up our goals and mission like we've never done before. We plan to get 100 first-time home buyers, hopefully first generation home buyers. That's one of our goals. And to bring in a collective of other realtors, brokerages, lenders and vendors, to do what we are calling the project is Urban KC 1000, which is to get 1,000 people who would probably not get into a home without the resources that we know exist. Whether you're in that category or not today, you may have resources and all that, but everybody who walks through our door, we hope that you will take a little bit of that mission for yourself too. And if you know of anybody else who is struggling, but maybe they've got a great job, really, if you have a great job and you've been at it for a while, you can buy a house, is my opinion. There may be some other things you need to get in order and set up and all that. It could take a year or two, but that's the key, right? So I believe I mean, homelessness went up 19 million, and then, and it's up to, I don't know, over 2,000 here in Kansas City. And I believe one of the solutions is home ownership. So Emily DiMatteo and Ryan,
Wooden.
where are my words today? They are with Leader One. We have partnered with a lot of different lenders over the years. There's many out there. I'm sure you've maybe even talked to a few yourself. And we have a couple of other lenders that we help us with this Missouri grant program that helped us do workshops. But I'm going to tell you, Emily and Ryan are in this mission with us in a whole nother way than I've ever seen any lender. And it takes a lot to do that because, you know, in this business, you could just make money. And as a realtor, you can make, and lenders, you can make really good money. And I'm not saying that that shouldn't be any realtor, lender, anybody's goal. I'm just saying that if you have a great mission behind you too, it goes much farther. So I wanted to give you that as if there's anything that you can contribute to that after today, as we hopefully give you some help at getting a house spot. We would love any kind of input. We're gonna be doing different monthly things to get people here, to give them support, because we believe being around other people that are working on this can be uplifting and positive and getting resources. And so we're gonna be doing a lot of things. One of the things that we're gonna start doing a monthly cash flow game night, and which is strange, but cash flow is the game that Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Robert Kiyosaki.
him. I have no names today. Thank you. Have you read his book?
I read some of it. I haven't finished it, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the Cash Flow Quadrant is good.
So it is, I think for what we're trying to do as this mission, look, buying a home has the value of home ownership for you, your family, the freedom to do what you want in your home. But on the secondary level, it's also a way to build equity and to pass on generational wealth that many of the people we're really trying to help, we want that to happen for them too. And the cash flow game teaches people, you know what, maybe instead of just buying, and I'm really trying to reach young people in their 20s, instead of just thinking about owning your own home, think about it as an investment initially. Instead of just your own home, that can set you up for life to where you don't ever have to, you can work wherever you want. You don't have to be forced into some job or whatever, and then you can pass that on to your kids if you have kids. If you don't, it's not, kids are not required in this world. Just so you know, you don't be giving the stuff to your kids. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know. So that's going to be, if you guys want to if you haven't ever seen that game, it is hilarious when you play this game. It teaches financial literacy. It teaches all creative ways. It's kind of like Monopoly on steroids. So you can really learn. So people love playing that game. So we're going to do a couple of test nights to just kind of work out the kinks. So we'll invite you guys back if you can make it. We'd love for you to come back and bring anybody else with you that you think might enjoy that. I'm also going to be doing, I was going to do it next Saturday, but I'm going to have to change the date. But I'm going to do a vision board exercise. Remember, Lisa, you came? But we're going to do this for home ownership. So like creating a vision board of what you want in your home, how, just the whole like picture of the visual of your home ownership. So I'm going to be doing that as a workshop here in a couple weeks, I think. We'll get it together, so stay in touch with that. Okay, so on your handouts, you have housekeeping and agenda on the top. And just quickly, we have restrooms are just to the left of us. And if you want to get on Wi-Fi on your phone, or I don't see anybody borrowing computers, no big deal, don't need a computer. Our Wi-Fi is Spectrum 2G. The password is shenanigans23. We have a quiz that we're going to have people take throughout the year to get them kind of introduced to what we're, you know. Oh, do we have a doorbell? I didn't know we had a doorbell. Great. Oh, that makes me think I had my phone on ringtone too, so I could hear if anybody needed in. You guys found how to get in okay?
Yeah.
That's nice. It's always a problem.
Those instructions.
Perfect. So at some point, you don't have to do, the quiz is just it's a 21 question, literally takes you less than 2 minutes to do. We're gonna go over this today. You're not really, after this, you're gonna go, like, we already got this. But it's something you can send to people. Like if it has some of the Missouri grant information in it. Because that would be a way, like, it's hard to pass on. You can say, hey, we went to a great workshop, and say, well, well, it was something about, you know, it's hard to kind of explain it. So we've got 2 websites you can send them to. This is one that they can do the quiz, and then once they do that, then we will send them to, and we're gonna pull up, I think it's, we'll come to it, it's a website that has just the Missouri Grant Program that we've put together for just like on our own interpretation of it. When you go to the Missouri Grant, it's mhdc.com, Missouri Housing Development Corporation. There's like a million things on that website, and it is so hard to navigate. It is ridiculous. That's why we have to do this, because we want to get here. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, before we get into the actual agenda, you can see what we're doing in the agenda. I'm not going to pre-call the agenda. You see it there. What I want you to do, we've put note cards, and if you don't have any note cards in front of you, I don't think Lisa note cards. And if you need a pen, let us know. We have pens up here. I want you to, on the note card, write down, if I walk away today with something that made it worth getting out of bed and getting in this cold weather and coming here to this workshop, what do I really want from today? What is my heart's desire that I want to get? It may be many things, okay, but just the big one for you. What do you want? Is it ready? Okay. Marissa, you can move that game out if they don't have enough room. You can set it on top of it. Okay. Sorry, still writing. Okay, so we were just, did you take them a couple of my cards? We were just writing down, my name is Franny, by the way. I'll come introduce I'll meet you guys here in a minute, okay? We were just writing down on note cards, what's your big goal today? Like, what do you really want to walk away with today? Does anybody want to, you don't have to, it can be private and you can keep it private, but does anybody want to share their big goal today?
Knowledge,
Knowledge?
understanding of the whole process.
Okay, great.
You stole mine.
Just knowledge?
Understanding the home buying process.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, great.
Kind of want to know the minimum requirements for me to start seriously looking at properties and like where in the process that is.
Okay, great, perfect.
I wrote down that homeownership is even possible at this stage because of what I see the market being from even just in the last 5 years, how it's changed so even if it's possible at this point for me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great. I'm gonna, I forgot your name already.
Shauna.
Shauna. Okay, so I will tell you, if you can believe it, it can happen. I have a bunch of stories of people just like you. Now I'm sounding like a motivational speaker. And I'm gonna tell you, if you're here today, I mean, who else comes to something like this if you're not serious and want it, and you're taking steps and all that? I think if you have the goal and the motivation to do it, I even in this market that's whacked out for affordable housing right now, I truly believe it can happen. And I hope by the end, you'll walk okay, I was a 2, now I'm a 4. That would be my goal. And I'm going to tell you, that is our biggest obstacle right now, is getting people to believe that this is still possible. It has just been heartbreaking what has happened in the last few years for people trying to buy their first home. It's very, very tough. So I appreciate you saying that. Anybody else?
Mine's along the same lines, just to educate myself, to kind of release some of the fear surrounded by all of it, see if it's even possible. It should be theoretically, but it doesn't feel like it, and that's weird. So
It's weird.
Too daunting
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be scared of it anymore.
Yeah.
so,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah. Anybody else? Again, you don't have to. Yes. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Tiana Miller.
Hi, Tia.
Hi, everyone. I just said to understand the direction I want to take and to begin a plan.
Okay, good, great.
Love it.
You guys have any? You have anything? You have anything? No? Anything else? Okay. All right, so we'll leave those. Did you want to say something? Okay, so, no pressure. I saw a little bit of a gleam in the eye. So we'll look at those when we're done. Look, it's not like an all day, like you're gonna forget it between now and the time we're done. So, but it'll be good. It's good. I mean, look, I totally believe that if you have a goal and you turn the temperature up, you can't be lukewarm. Ain't gonna happen. You gotta turn that temperature up, and then you gotta be around other people whose temperature is up around it. You can't be around a bunch of low temperature people when you're trying to achieve something that seems out of sight. And then you're gonna have to look at your patterns. Because it's those patterns in our lives that come and whack us, even though we're like, rah, 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 I'm ready to go. But we have some patterns, behavioral patterns that can steer us out. So you have to be able to catch those patterns. We all have them.
Yes.
So I hope to help you with that. Maybe not so much today, we're not gonna go into that all today, but over the year, if you stick around with me, we'll talk about whether it's spending patterns, whether it's just psychological, getting down patterns. There are a lot of things that we trip ourselves up even though we're ready to go. So if you do those things, then we have the resources to get you in a house. I totally believe that. But it's all this other stuff you're gonna have to let go from. Okay. Any questions about anything that I haven't covered before we jump into the actual agenda? We're kind of in the agenda.
So you said, the east side, what areas from what, Truce to, or Independence Avenue? I'm trying to picture it
That's
in
a
my
great
head.
question. So when we started, Troost was what we would consider the east side. It's changed. And when we say consider, I believe, like, we are trying to do affordable housing. So from Troost to Paseo now, or Troost to 71 Highway now, depending where it's at, north-south, for the most part is not as affordable. It's pretty much not affordable. There's pockets you can still, and it's all also independent of what is affordable to you, okay? So affordable to me, when I talk about affordability, I want it to be 200,000 or less, is what I'm looking for affordability right now. I would like to see people get into a house that what they're paying for rent or less. Now, you may be in a situation where you're paying $600 for rent. I'm not gonna be able to do that. So Emily and I are helping a 20-year-old young woman. Oh my God, she is on, talk about temperature high. This woman is determined to buy her a house. And she is looking at $75,000 and $85,000 houses up in the Northeast, and that woman's gonna buy a house. And she's a full-time student and working part-time at Guadalupe Elementary School. I mean, she is like, I wish I could just bring her here today to show, like, we rarely get 20-year-olds in general. A woman, 20-year-old. I mean, so, and I said, well, what do you want your budget to be? And she said $500 a month. And I'm like, what? And she looked me straight in the eye, and she was not even having it if I tried to sway her any other way. And, you know, we've been looking at houses. I can talk about the houses we look at. They've been fun, really. Anyway, so east to me, until you get to the Northeast, okay? So, because it kind of changes right there, right? But I would say more 71 East is basically where we're seeing the most opportunity for affordable housing. We're starting to see some crazy things going on even in that part with people who've been flipping and renovating houses, but they're still there. Like, for the most part, you can get a 200 or less decent house for a family, 3-bedroom, maybe only 1 bath, but you can, with a yard, you can still get that for 200,000 or less. That's what we're trying to figure out for everybody. Now, if your budget is higher than that, believe me, we're not gonna no, you want to 200 or less. No, we want to, this is very individual. But just as a goal, we believe that if people can spend $1,200 or less for monthly payment, rents are about in that 1,200 to, I mean, depending on where you're at and what size and all that, okay? But we're up there, right?
Yes.
So we're trying to get to where, and I think we can do it. I think we're good. Yes, did I answer that?
You did. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other quick questions before we get into? Okay.
I do want to add that walking out of today's session, I want to.
I knew it!
I want a positive outlook on Kansas City as a whole. And then just understanding the value of home ownership in my 20s.
In your what?
20s.
In your 20s. Hey, let's give it up for 20s. Yes. Are you married? Yes. Nothing gets, I'm married. Nothing gets me happy. I do have a little special thing in my heart for single women buying homes in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I don't care. I think it's kind of fun to see that happen, but it's not. Families come in all kinds of you're all in your own situation, so I don't really need to say that I only like single women. Okay. Any other last questions? How's temperature?
Good.
How's your temperature?
Good.
It's good, not good. Watch, it's gonna get higher, it's going up, it's going up. Okay, so what we're gonna do first, if you follow along with us in our agenda, we're gonna now bring Emily and Ryan up to start talking about loan programs overall, the mortgage process, just like, what is that about? One of our biggest hurdles that we have with new clients that come to us, we ask them, have you talked to a lender yet? Most say no, and we ask why not, and they don't really have a reason. We have just found over time it's a little intimidating, and I think there's fears around maybe some shame, some just like, I don't feel like I have what it takes or whatever. Now I've got to tell that to somebody else that I don't know over the phone. I mean, it's sticky and weird, and so we understand why people don't do that, but you've got to do it. Like, you've got to address your money, what loans were. You've got to get on that. Like, you can't do it without it. You need help from a lender, period. And so that's why Emily and Ryan are my people now, because I'm telling you, when anybody says, well, I don't know, I'm like, are you kidding me? You've got to call Emily. She will love you up like nobody's business, and you will be so happy that you've talked to Emily. So that's why I wanted them to take over this part of it and just like show their love like they show me their love. So,
Thank you, Franny, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yes, she's accurate. We're very passionate about getting people into houses, and a couple things that you guys have said that really stuck out was, one thing you said, fear. Fear is a big one, especially when it comes to lending. You don't know what to do, you don't know what you don't know. That's where we're at. We just want you guys to be comfortable. We want every one of our customers to be comfortable talking to us. The other thing was planning. You might not be ready right now, but we want to be your biggest cheerleader. We want to help you plan. We want to get you to that point of homeownership. So even if you're not ready right now, now's the time you start talking about it and get that plan going. So yes, I'm Emily DiMatteo. I've been in the business since 2003. Yes, I started when I was 4. Passionate. We do share the same passion. I've been in the industry. I've been in all parts of it. I've done the fast-paced lending. I don't like that. I want to slow down and actually help people and talk to them and get their stories. And really, by the end of it, we become best friends, you know. And I just closed a girl yesterday, a single mom, for her first house, and it's just so rewarding, just sitting at that closing table with her. So, and this is Ryan.
Hi. I do business development for our team, so I'll give you a little backstory how I got here, because it relates. So I was in a situation where myself and my boyfriend, we rented for years, and we just kind of didn't think that we could buy. Kind of like what you said, right? We thought, it's not something we can do right now. All right, we're good. Then we kept renting. We borrowed for our house in 2020 with Leader One. And I enjoyed the process so much that now here we are. But I have 20-something years of client relations experience within sales and marketing and all of that good stuff. And so my passions really lie, I'm on the board for the LGBT Real Estate Alliance, but helping, just like what we've said, helping first-time home buyers, or people that, you know, have that moment of, I don't know if I can do this, or how do I do this, or just being that safe space to start the conversation was my entire vision for this position when I started. So with that being said, we'll give you guys our QR codes and you can feel free at any time. If you have a question about anything, big or small, that's really my vision for my position, is to be the guy that you can say, hey, I have something I have a question on, and not feel intimidated by anything, right?
We're real people. And Leader One, he did mention Leader One. It's a local-based company, so we are on the I Love KC team, and that says it all. We love Kansas City. We want everybody to be comfortable here. Again, it's our passion.
Yeah.
So, okay, so yes, everybody needs something personalized. It's not, mortgages aren't one size fits all, housing isn't, we just want everybody to have their personal plan. So each person would need to tell me their story and not just an application. It's gonna be the full thing of like, what is your goal? Is your goal to buy a house now? Is your goal to buy a house that you can afford now? And then understand that that might not be your dream home just yet, but it is an investment. Those are the things that we wanna talk about with each individual person. Kind of make it more personalized for everybody. So the same girl that Franny was telling you about, that 20-year-old girl. So what to expect with your lender, you want to do your research. Like you don't want to just, obviously you don't want to just trust anybody. You want somebody that's just not 9 to 5 that you have to call during the day. Like we know that you guys work, we're always available. But this girl, by the time I even got her on the phone, she had completely researched me. She knew what I went to college for. She knew my background. I was so impressed with this 20-year-old girl doing her research. I'm like, I love that. Like she's gonna go far in life. So do your research. You want to know what to expect. Interview lenders. Make sure that they fit your need. And not everybody's for everybody. So just do that. So we talked to, like the thing is, you just got to be comfortable. You got to have somebody that you can talk to about your finances and your dreams. So do you guys have somebody now that you talk to, maybe a parent or a sibling or child, somebody that you're comfortable with talking about your goals?
You guys are
Your
together. Love it.
Get somebody that you're comfortable with,
Right.
We're gonna go through the process, you want to go through the process with them together, not just separate. So go find somebody that's got your, goals in mind, that you feel comfortable with. We want to find something that you could comfortably afford. Like we don't want to squeeze you into a house just because our system says that you can afford it, you can buy it. That payment still might be too high, or you might not want that. So we want to make sure that you can find something that you can comfortably afford. Like Franny had said, like your rent. So are you comfortable paying the rent payment that you're paying now? Do you think that you could pay a little bit more? It's something that you could do is like, if your rent is $1,200 a month, start paying $1,400 a month. Start paying the $1,200 to your landlord and put the $200 in savings. Because that's essentially what you're gonna be doing when you buy a house anyway. You're buying an investment that's actually like a savings account. So, makes sense?
Yeah.
Does anybody have questions? I don't wanna fly through this so far. I know, it's the lending part that can be fearful, but that's what we want to eliminate for you guys. So, just being available, I did mention that. We do want to always be available for you guys. Through the process, it could be a long journey until you get to a house, it could be a short journey, either one. We just want to be available to you. We have a system that once you guys do like a loan application, we'll have it, but it'll also send you monthly reports. So say you're looking in 64109 or you're looking in a certain zip code, it's going to give you market updates on that area too. So you're going to be informed. You'll stay informed that way. Even after you buy a house, the system will give you a report on your actual house and just kind of show you the equity that you've got in it. Anytime when you work with a lender like us, anytime that we see any type of savings, my favorite phone call will be, hey, we've got a new program that I can get you into and we'll refinance it and get it in there. So again, my favorite phone call to make is, we're gonna save you money.
That monthly email is my favorite email to get on my house, just because it's fun to see, how your home value is improving, or just to see what the neighborhood's looking like. It's cool.
Yeah, or if you decide to rent that house, like you did just buy the smaller house and now you want to move on, like how much rent could you get for it? This report tells you all of that. So that's just another way that we'll stay in contact with you through the process. And then going through the loan, like once you do find the house and Franny and Marissa get you that perfect house that you've got, then we're gonna start the actual loan process. Just know that we're not gonna let you miss anything. You don't have to memorize every piece of it right now. You just have to remember resources. And that's one thing that Einstein said that is one of my favorite quotes is, don't memorize the phone book, just know where you put the phone book. I just aged myself with that.
Well, you started your business at 4?
That's funny. Okay, so we'll kind of show you, let me get that off there. Okay, let me go backwards. We'll show you how to do the loan application. Ryan will kind of help us with that. like I said, loan programs aren't a one size fits all. Everybody's gonna be different, so we'll help you with that program. We can sit together on the phone or sit down together, you know, wherever we need to do it. We'll explore down payment assistance, so in different loan programs. Have any of you heard of any different loan programs?
MHBC for sure.
Right. Yes, MHTC, that's our favorite. That's our very, very favorite. What about any others?
I haven't heard of any others, but I hear there's a lot more now
Or bond programs or down payment assistance? Yeah,
Mhm.
there are lots, but MHTC, I've never seen a program like that one. And I'm licensed in other states too, and Missouri really does have their shit together. And we'll talk about that. I mean, the down payment assistance program is for first time home buyers, but is everybody here a first time home buyer?
So this is the thing about first time home buyers. I heard that, so I've owned a house before, but since I haven't owned a house in 3 years or something, I'm still considered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could totally be up here teaching.
Right.
No, that's right. So first time home buyer doesn't mean first time ever. It means you haven't owned a home in 3 years.
Mhm.
So you can get first time home buyer benefits if you haven't owned a home in 3 years. So she's right. So I'm not gonna go through all those programs with everybody. I think that each person, like I would just sit down and talk to you individually, and that way you can ask more questions and not just in a group setting. Okay, so loan application. Ryan will let you do this.
Cool. So, in the spirit of making everything easy and accessible and approachable, we have the Leader One app. So, when you're ready to apply, which if you wanted to download it right now, you could take a look at it. You wouldn't have to apply necessarily, but you can take a look and see what the interface looks like. You can scan the QR code up here. There's one on your sheets or over on the
There's
easel
one
as
other-
well.
yeah.
But it's a one-stop shop for
What are they
us.
looking for?
And it's that QR code right there. Yep.
It's in your pocket too, I think.
Yeah, it's in your phone.
And if you guys download it now, just one thing, it'll give me your contact information, so I can already kind of be proactive, and if you're scared, like, no, come on, you got this.
Right.
We're in this together.
Can I say, you may be saying this, but just in case people don't know, if you did the app, one of our questions we get a lot is, and you guys do too, I'm sure, is does it do a credit?
I love that you asked that. So
Yeah.
we have the ability, if you do the actual loan application, I'm gonna do a soft credit pull. I will not do a hard credit pull unless I tell you that I'm gonna do that. Soft credit pull will give me almost everything I need to know whether I can move forward or not. Depending on the program, most likely I won't need to pull a hard credit pull, but if I need to do, if I'm gonna do an MHTC, eventually I'll need to do the hard credit to make sure that we know that you're pre-approved. But initially, it just does a soft credit pull. It's pretty easy, doesn't ding your credit. And if it does do a hard credit pull, that doesn't mean that your credit is gonna be dinged forever. It might have a negative effect, it's not guaranteed to have a negative effect, and that negativity just falls off within like 90 days. So it's not that terrible.
Right.
It's not as bad as what most people think. You're gonna say something?
Well, I just also, like, depending on where you are at in your buying process, if you're more than 90 days out, I believe that doing any kind of loan app is really mostly for you to go, okay, what do I need to improve?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when I really am ready to do the real thing, then I've got that together.
It's a
If-
plan.
if-
I wanna get you on a plan.
If you are sort of more closer to being within that 90 days, but not sure, like you may be right on the cusp. Typically, if you do the app and Emily gets you a pre-approval, which we need to help you go buy a house, that pre-approval lasts for
90 days.
90 days. That is not the end of time. It's like you then can say to Emily, well, we didn't get it done in 3 months, no big deal, she'll just renew it.
Mhm.
I mean, she'll have to look at if anything changed
Yeah.
in your income and so forth,
Right.
but it's, the reason I'm saying this is people sometimes come to us and like, well, I don't wanna get the I don't wanna get the pre-approval letter too early and then it expires and like, don't worry about that. I'm gonna tell you, if you're close, if you're within 6 months of buying a house, if that's in your head, and maybe you don't know yet, but I would go ahead and get a pre-approval, because you just never know when a house pops up. We don't know. We're getting into the house popping up season, that they'll start popping up a lot. And you want it, like, I'm telling you, we have had so many people who, that was my dream house. And they weren't ready. And they could have been. There was nothing keeping them from being ready. It was just, they were just not prepared. They didn't wanna go through this, and no, go through it, turn the temperature up.
Don't be
Get
afraid.
it done, don't be afraid. And again, if there's things that are gonna keep you from getting that pre-approval, Emily is the best to say, hey, let's do this, you do this, do this, do this. It's easy, don't worry about it. May take a little bit longer than you're thinking. She will totally work that out with you.
Another thing I wanna
Don't be
see,
scared about it.
your credit, like, or the pre-approval, it could be for this, you could get this deal. But, and you know that you're pre-approved, but I can also see, like, you know what, if we do this, you are gonna get a better deal. So while you're shopping for houses, I'm working behind the scenes like a little mouse, working to make sure that you get a better deal when you do go under contract. So there's all those little different things that you just need to get pre-approved up front, or just let us take a look at it and get a plan for you. I'll never say no. I'm like, this is how we're gonna do it. Like,
Right.
not no, we're gonna do it this way, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so if you guys don't mind, go ahead and load that up. It does give me, it helps me get your contact information, so we can stay in touch a little bit too.
It was
You
easy.
guys are working
If it's
fast, I
easy.
see them all.
You do? I don't know.
Like it keeps
Listen,
buzzing.
Look, this is, like, we're not in an MLM, we're not trying to do sales
I know,
here.
yeah.
Look, we're trying to make this is supposed to be making this easy on you guys. Look, if you say, okay, I've done it, but I'm not really ready.
Yeah.
I'm just here trying to test the water, see what's going on. It's okay.
It's fine.
Don't, Emily, you just say, hey, I just did it for the practice of it. That's what we want you to do. Get in line.
Yeah.
Get going. How can you make this happen until you may go do this and go, well, that wasn't so bad. And you've been fearing it all along. Or you may go and go, well, I don't like that one so much, and I maybe like this. We're not saying you have to go with Emily and Ryan at all. Look, you may have somebody you're working with already. It's okay. This is not what we're trying to do. We just want to show you the process
Doesn't cost anything,
so
That'd be-
you can go, oh.
free advice. Free house, free friend over here. So, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, and that's, as you do download the app and look through it, if you have questions, that's what I'm here for. I really do all that intake piece, and then I make Emily do all the hard work, that's what I say. But it's nice to have, it's all in one place. Like I say, you can upload documents, you can get in touch with Emily or myself through the app really easily. And you know, everybody's got their phone in their hand all the time anyway, so you might as well use it for something, right? Alright, now,
Oh, yes. We talked about the Missouri Grant Program. So you guys, I've already heard about it. Franny's even mentioned it. We can't say enough good things about it. Just a few of the benefits. One is the lower interest rates. You can even get a 5% interest rate with this program. I mean, it's available, and that's pretty cool right now. So there's down payment assistance options, whether you've saved or you haven't saved, you can use that money that they give you as a down payment, or you can use it to help with your closing costs. If you use it for the down payment, and then we get the seller to help with the closing cost piece of it, you could almost come into buying a house with zero money down. So there's a little bit of upfront costs. I think Marissa and Franny are gonna talk about that.
Upfront cost?
There's a little bit of upfront cost with the MHGC, maybe with your inspections, you guys will go.
Oh,
through
yeah,
that.
gotcha.
Do you guys have questions for us? Any
Do
fears?
you all, are you in-house lending or a mortgage broker? Do you sell your loans?
Great question. So we're a correspondent lender, which means that every loan we do is gonna close in our name. You're usually gonna make your first payment to us. We're really good at finding you the best rate. We all kind of drink from the same pond, and I can see everybody's pond. So again, with the programs, we'll find the best deal. MHGC is a flat deal anyway, so it'll always be the same. But what we don't pride ourselves on is servicing, which is where you make your payments in the end. There are really good companies that do that, so yes, will go to a different service for later. But usually a big bank, that makes it easier, you can set up online payments and all that, so.
Do you work with US Bank or do you sell it like to?
I don't think we have any US banks.
You don't?
I see a lot of like, PennyMac, Chase, Mr. Cooper, yeah, those.
What about Service Solutions? You don't use them?
I don't think so, no, why? You sound like
Story.
I think they're called like Alabama Housing or something there in another state, but they go by Serva Solutions.
Serva? Haven't heard of them, no. And I stay in contact with customers even after they close their loan because, you know, obviously we want to stay in contact with them. And I don't have anybody with any negative feedback about any servicing. So, any other questions for us before I turn it back over to Franny? What would make you guys feel comfortable coming to us with questions? You know, we want to make sure that you guys, that you don't have any reservations, you know, that you, and we can stay on.
I'm sorry to be the one.
Not at all.
I love it.
My biggest hurdle is credit. I'm just gonna put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Credit score is so low, and it's so hard to build it without having the debt to income ratio, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my challenge, how to build it without having so much debt taken away from my ability to buy it.
So first of all, I just want you guys to know, we already know life happens. Like, there's no judgment when it comes to credit. I know shit happens, and that's my favorite thing. If we don't have the money to fix it right now, you can either have money or you can have time. So maybe it just might take a couple more months or, you know, certain things. But what we can do is, we have something called a credit expert. So once I run your credit, it'll tell me what your credit score is, and it'll also tell me if there's a potential for you to be able to increase your credit. If there is, then I run this credit expert. It tells me what you need to do. Pay this account down a little bit, pay this one off, you know, or wait 2 months and or open a new secured credit card, pay on that for 2 months, and that'll increase your credit. So it'll give me that advice, and then I pass it to you guys. And like I said, it doesn't cost anything. It's literally free advice that the credit experts are doing, and I just pass it to you. So, and like I said, even if I pull your credit and it's fine for you to get financing, because it might not be as bad as what you think. If it's fine to get financing, and I still see there's an improvement, we'll work on that improvement as you're shopping for houses. You know, kind of behind the scenes, so.
I turned it on and it came on too soon.
That's all right, that's all right.
The biggest thing that I always tell people with credit, I mean, is just knowing where you stand so that you have a game plan. I mean, a lot of the time you'll go in blind and not know, and that blindness to the path to improve your credit is really the hurdle that you can deliver, not necessarily the action, right? But it's a lot of times it's people that say, I just don't want to know, I don't want to think about it.
Or you're comparing yourself to the wrong person. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Compare yourself to yourself 5 months ago, like, or whatever it is. Don't compare yourself to them.
Right. Yep. Super.
Franny, you mind? We'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah.
Pull up the
And I'll stay after, if anybody wants to talk individually, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So while he's bringing up, I'm gonna go a little bit more detail into the Missouri Grant Program. We're trying to change language because MHDC says nothing to most people. So from a marketing and communication, which is what I like to do, I'm gonna get this message out there better and sexier. And MHDC does nothing for anybody. So anytime I say Missouri Grant Program, we say Missouri, it is MHDC, okay? So since you already know MHDC, some of you. You know, I hope, we'll see in the next 4 years, this is sort of a political commentary and sort of not. But I hope somewhere within our government, they take on and start getting us some more first down payment grant money. Like we had in the late 2000 and, when did you buy your house, Lisa? She's also a second timer, first time home buyer. So 11? so it was still going on. So we need the federal government to jump in and start getting some more first-time home buyer grant money for us. So I'm hoping for that, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to poke at people to start getting that done. So we'll see, it's, we'll see with this administration, how far we can get with that. Okay, if you still have your phone out, before I jump into this, and we'll come back to it, another app I think is critical to have on your phone is Carl's Mortgage Calculator. It's free. I think it may run, I don't think it does ads. There are a lot of mortgage calculators out there, and I have found Carl's, K-A-R, I have it in the agenda there. Right in the middle, Carl's Mortgage Calculator. When you're out looking at houses with Marissa and I, we're gonna have the Carl's Mortgage app up and running. And so you're gonna be learning it about, like, can I afford this? Well, let's look at your Carl's Mortgage Calculator, okay? Because we don't know. We don't know what the taxes are. I mean, we will, but we need to know a lot of different stuff. And so Carl's will help us to do that. So if you don't do it now, when you get home and you want to take some time to download that, get Carl's Mortgage app or calculator app. Okay.
Is it an app or just a website?
It's an app.
Oh, it's an app.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is an app for that. Okay, so it's up on the screen, but you now have this. Where I showed you those tools. So in your handout, we're starting here. If you go to, I already talked about my goals. Where are my goals? Goals, turn the temperature up. All right, so I've spent several years trying to get this down to explain it to people in the most simple way, and this is it. And we have a website that you can get. I told you this is on a website now. We'll get you that website. I think it's in here somewhere. At the end, I think. If not, we'll get it to you. Okay, so minimum in order to get, by the way, do you all know where the Missouri grant money comes from, where that money comes from? Do we know where that money comes from? Who's giving it? What? Yeah, it's bonds. It's bonds, okay? So it's not coming, the thing you need to know is it's not coming from federal, because that can run out. They run out of money too, by the way. They've run out of, we've been in a situation towards November, December, and you've got yourself all set up and ready to go, and then the money's not there. So don't wait until November, December to use the Missouri Grant Program. It gets refreshed in January, so you may just have to wait. And they may not, it didn't run out this year, so, because nobody was buying this year. Nobody was buying, there was, I don't know that we helped a first-time home buyer buy a house this year. I mean, it's been really tough, first-time home buyers. That's not true, we have. It feels like we have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, at first it's like, what are you talking about? Okay. So, minimum credit score is 640. Debt to income ratio is 45% or less. Do you all understand what debt to income ratio is? Does anybody need me to explain it?
What kind of things are?
Don't worry about that 640, I'll help you get there.
Yes, so the question that Mamba had is, what is considered debt in this?
Anything that's on your credit, a car loan, a credit card, anything that's utilities, like your insurance, your phone bills, those are not considered debt.
Did you all hear that? So you may not know that.
Anything that's on your credit, that's reported to credit, which if you don't know what's on your credit, it's mostly just installment loans or credit card, revolving debt, that's usually what's on there.
Anybody here have student loans?
Student loans, yes. Okay.
So are they
I'm
counting
almost
like
done.
student loan debt then? Or is it-
It's like the last one.
You're so close. Only 5% of the balance that's due, that's what we use.
5%?
The girl I closed yesterday had $200,000 in repayment would have been $1,000 a month is what I had to use. She's not in repayment, so she doesn't actually pay it, but she was able to buy the house because we figured out, we had to get creative. We got creative, and it worked.
So could you say, say for instance, if you're not in repayment, like you qualify for the public service loan forgiveness stuff, and you're not really in repayment, can you say, hey, instead of $1,000, because you do pay, I pay $50 a month?
If she was on a payment plan that was actually at $50 a month, I could use the $50 a month.
Can you?
But
Yes!
But she was not on that.
Great question.
They actually weren't doing that. She tried to do it, and they
And
weren't
they
doing it.
wouldn't do it?
But great question. I
Yeah,
love that.
that's good.
Sweet. You are turning the temperature. Okay, total gross annual household income must be within established limits. We're gonna say what those are, but, what is considered income? Oh, go back. So it's written there, do we have anything? That's from their website, so,
Basically, anybody that's over 18 that works in the house, that's part of your household income, whether they're on the loan or not. So even if it's just like you're just on the loan by yourself, if you have a child or your husband that works, they, you guys have their income. But the income limits are so high, we don't, yeah.
so Lisa, you have somebody in your home right now. She's on Social Security, right? No Social Security? No Social Security? Does she have any income? I mean Lisa, no. Her mom.
She worked.
Oh, so she has retirement
She has her own
pension. So would that count?
Yeah, we would count the pension towards the house.
Unless mom's gonna move with you, right? That's the plan, yeah?
Yeah, that would probably help you in most situations, but even for a three-person household, it's like, I guess, 140,000 a year. You'll have to look at the numbers on those memories, but it's a high limit anyway, so.
So if a teenager is working, does that count? Did y'all hear that?
Over 18.
Over 18.
Wait, what was the limit?
It still showed again.
I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure you were adding everything up that's in your household.
Yeah.
Both people and income, okay? Because it's pretty important, yeah, go ahead. Okay, so here are the income limits. So, and these change every now and then. We have to keep going to MHDC website, we do, to make sure it's not changed. So this is latest. So so a division, non-targeted area and targeted area. And I'm gonna show you what targeted areas are. It's based on, it's a census tract, and it's basically more in the area where there's more rentals and less income, is how they do it. And those targeted areas change. So if you buy in a targeted area, those numbers go up, the maximum amount that you can have for income. So that's why we love where we're trying to service, because there are more targeted areas that we can help you get into higher income. So 1 to 2 people household, you can make up to 103,100 total. 3+ person household is 118,565. What is a household considered? You know, like who's to get like?
Anybody over 18 that works in the house.
So, does anybody have your brother living with you? What about a cousin? Anybody got a cousin living with you? So somebody like that?
Yeah.
Anybody living with them?
Anybody that works.
So
Or like,
That's over 18.
like in our household, like myself and my boyfriend were unmarried, but we got household.
yeah,
Not the limit, yeah. That's awesome.
that seems like an honor system, doesn't it? So it does go up quite, and here's what I want to say about this. This to me is where I got really excited, because typically down payment assistance program, grant programs, et cetera, the income is a little bit lower. Like, they're trying to serve a different population. I believe this is a good population they're trying to serve a group of first-time home buyers who are working and have a good income coming in, but still need the help. Because I think in the past, that has not been a group that got help. You see what I'm saying? And they needed the help. So I love that this is a higher income maximum. And then the target area, 123,000, and then, so I helped, in a targeted area, a single woman with 2 kids. She made $138,000 a year at her job. She has a great job. But I'm telling you, those 2 kids are expensive for her. Really expensive. Yeah. So she bought a house, in a targeted area on the east side. And so because she was able, because she first like, man, I can't buy a house. I make too much money. And she was quite surprised that she was able to, Miss Stein. Yeah. So, it's great. I love that we have these. Okay. So then, what can you buy? What are the types of homes you can buy? So, single family home, single residence. You can buy a duplex. You have to live in one of the duplexes. You cannot use the Missouri Grant Program to just do investment. You have to live there. It has to be owner occupied.
But you could rent on the other side of it?
Yes.
While you live there?
Yes. It has to be less than 5 years old or. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You gotta be older than 5 years. And I don't know why that. That's a dumb rule.
Interesting. Just randomly go 5 minutes there.
Semi-detached, I don't even really know what they mean by semi-detached, because semi-detached, I mean, to me, townhomes are semi-detached, I don't know. So you can buy a condo, which is great. Listen, that's a great way to get into a less expensive home for yourself to start with. Townhomes, double-wide mobile homes, modular manufactured housing. It just has to be on a permanent foundation. You can't have a mobile home and buy that. Does that make sense? So that could be a great option as well. It cannot be in a 100-year floodplain. You will have to get insurance on your property. That is one of the first things that Emily or your lender will get you going once you get under contract with the house. They're like, you gotta get insurance, and the insurance will check if it's a 100-year flood. That's something you're gonna have to figure out. We will help you with that too, and we can, as we're looking at house, we'll know. Like there's a neighborhood in Kansas City, Lindenwood. It's off of it's a great neighborhood, but it's a 100-year floodplain. It's off of Holmes and 99th. Holmes and 99th on the east side of Holmes. Great, beautiful, really awesome, affordable homes, floodplain, 100-year floodplain. So you couldn't use the program for that, unfortunately. I keep trying to move my screen forward. So, how expensive of a home can you buy? A non-target area, $510,000 for one family residence. If you're buying a duplex, $654,000. If you're in a targeted area, it goes up $624,000, or duplex $799,000. So, I mean, for our goals and missions, this is plenty.
If you're making $100,000 a year, or you really want to pay for an $100,000 house,
Yeah.
it seems excessive.
Well, duplex you could, because
Oh, that's true, yeah.
you're getting in
House
the other
type.
side fixed.
Uh-huh.
Okay, go ahead. What's next? Okay, so this is where I just, this is what I do on this I go, I just go like,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, I think that's makes it confusing, they don't know. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's for anybody.
so basically, I'm looking at this column. This is FHA loans. You can be a conventional loan and do Missouri grants, so don't think you have to do FHA. What's the difference between FHA and conventional? Why would you go FHA versus conventional anyway? Let me give you a couple reasons. So FHA loans, even if you weren't doing the Missouri grant program, FHA loans, the interest rate is going to be lower. Typically, and mortgage insurance is lower, but typically the interest rate is almost 1% less than what the going rate is. So right now, you see here, 5.75, that's a FHA, what it is right now, and interest rates, so yesterday,
Closer to 7.
7-ish.
Yeah.
Depending on your credit score, depending on a bunch of stuff, okay? So already, I mean, that's just getting an FHA loan, even without the Missouri grant program, okay? But the flip side, the challenge of an FHA loan is you have mortgage insurance.
You'll have mortgage insurance either way, but the mortgage insurance will stay with the loan, with the
Longer.
FHA, longer, yeah.
Okay, so mortgage insurance, any loan that you do not put 20% or more down, you have to pay mortgage insurance. It ranges from, I'm just gonna throw out, it just depends on how much your house is, but it ranges from $50 a month to 100 and something a month extra. So, and it feels like you're just throwing that money away. But that's, what are they insuring? You from going into foreclosure. It's going into a insured so that if that happens, then the bank gets, the lender gets covered, not by the bank, but by that insurance company. FHA on their mortgage, and if you can go conventional and buy a house at 5% down. You still have mortgage insurance, but it's a little bit more than if you're doing FHA. Just because they're trying, FHA is to help, it's first time home buyer, they're trying to help you a little bit. With an FHA loan, you have to keep paying that mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. With a conventional loan, if you put 5% down, you can actually get mortgage insurance removed after you have paid the up to,
Once you get 22% equity in the house, it automatically falls off, or you can call once you get 20% equity and manually make them do it.
so equity can also come in, not just you paying it, but in the market.
Housing prices increasing. I
So-
have a fun chart that I send you.
So here's what we like to do as realtors. We like to say, hey, let's get this house that needs very little work. Lisa Cherry's house that she sold was the best house that someone got a damn good deal on her house over in Garfield. And just with a little bit of more updates and just a little bit more stuff, they could get that, we could come back and say to Emily, look, the value has increased because they've done this improvement, this improvement, this improvement, and we could sell this house now for this. Or just a couple of years that the market has gone up, et cetera. So we are always thinking about that. When we're helping you to find houses, we're thinking about that. We want it to be on the lower end with the potential that it could be up here, a little bit higher, so eventually we can get that mortgage insurance off. So it's something we're trying to do with you.
I have a quick question. So going back to the income limits and the maximum purchase price, so since I'm still living with mom, do you recommend staying to take advantage of that? or going ahead and like getting the ball rolling with my process. If that makes sense.
I didn't catch.
So she's saying that with the income limit, because she's living at her mom's house, and she wants to buy her own house, right? That's what you're saying.
I want my own space.
Want your own space. Okay. Yeah. So should she get the ball rolling? Because she's still living at home.
It's gonna be the household income of the new house.
The new house, right.
So it's all about you and your new house.
Yeah, it's not your current household income, it's gonna be the future household income. So if you're moving out of mom's house, we wouldn't include mom's income. It would just be your income in the house.
Okay. So would she still be able to like take advantage of that too?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, if you're
Yes.
still.
If you're both
still-
buying two separate houses, or no?
If you're there.
Right.
She
If you
can't, if you're still
separate-
there.
That's what I was
You each
trying
your
to
own,
make
your own.
sure that you didn't take advantage of
While
that.
you're still there.
Right.
Well, you're still living at the house, but once you move out,
Your advantage is you're still there, and you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Considering her process.
yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're happy, it's not a big deal, being there, you could be sitting there forever until Mr. White or whatever comes along, or not even Mr. White, but you could be sitting there packing it away and enjoying life at the same time and enjoying her at the same time.
Which is what she's doing now.
So, it wasn't a problem. We all have our own space, take vacation. That's when you get your space taken.
I understand the timing can be
Yeah.
tricky. I mean, if you're anxious to get going and mom's taking a little bit too long. Hey, listen.
Doing right this time.
But hey, the temperature is up. It's not gonna be as long as you think. Okay, all right, wait, go back. So DPA and non-DPA, so down payment assistance. So you can, it used to be, this chart has changed from last year. You used to get a bonus or how do I want to say, a better deal, right? Than you are now.
Better deal in targeted areas versus non-targeted,
Right.
now the rates are the same.
Right. So, so if you bring your own down payment assistance, in the past, then you would get a 5% interest rate. But now you get it anyway. Is that right?
If you don't need the actual down payment assistance, you can still use this program and take advantage of that 5%.
Yeah, but even what I'm saying, yes, what you just said, but even if they're not bringing down payment assistance, they don't need it. Yeah, it's 5%.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So
It didn't used to be. Listen, you used to.
Let's get 5%.
It only dings you by that 0.75%
Oh, right.
that you would require down payment assistance.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, I'm sorry, did I just confuse you?
That's what I was looking at it and then I go, this is
Yeah.
not anymore. It's the same thing.
This is all about conventional loans, right?
Yes, the Fannie and Freddie, which are government programs right now, they're getting ready to go back to being private, but those are the Fannie and Freddie. So that's just your conventional loans. If we go that route, that's what I was telling you, everybody is different. I would show you both options. Most of the time in this situation, if you're not putting very much money down, the mortgage insurance for a conventional loan is too high and it doesn't make sense to do that. So, but I would show you both options and then give you my opinion of what I thought would be better. And that saves you the most money. So.
Yeah, okay. I don't get too much into, I don't know that enough, that's why, okay, Emily and Brian are here with us to help us with that. Okay, so next slide, so targeted areas, if you can get into it, it's, so here's the thing, everybody's different in what they want in a house in the neighborhood. Period. So I can't blanket say now what I think you should do in buying a house if you wanna try to get into a targeted area. Because I don't know you, I don't know what you like in a neighborhood. I don't know what your comfort zone in who's next to you. And I mean that more in a house that has been not taken care of. Because targeted areas, you're gonna have more rentals, and the chances of that being the case is gonna be higher. You just gotta know that. Neighborhoods that have less rentals, they're gonna typically be more taken care of, just in general, period. I personally, I'm gonna tell you one of the criteria I look for in a great neighborhood, no matter what part of town it is, trees.
Yes.
I can pull up a house or I can go into a neighborhood, and if the block is just stripped and no trees, not out. Now you may find a house on that block and you love it and you could care less about trees. But I find trees to have an aesthetic appeal. For most people, it makes the block prettier. It also provides a canopy that reduces the heat, etc. Trees. I think values of neighborhoods that have more trees are up than when we're down. So that's just one of my, so to see how that just happened, like you could be like, I don't care about this.
Does the insurance go up if there's a lot of trees?
Maybe someday when we all collectively agree that we have climate change happening.
Yeah.
Maybe someday that will be a deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just say all that because you and I, or Marissa, and we'll have to go, let's really talk about what you really want in a house, or duplex, and let us tell you what we know about the neighborhoods. And you're gonna tell us too, because you know some of these neighborhoods that maybe, I'm like, we can't know every inch of this city, it's huge, it's too big for Kansas City. But if you find a house and you're working with us, we can quickly tell you whether it's been targeted or not. We have ability to do that on MLS, you guys can too, right? Yeah, so Emily and Ryan can find it for you. It's typically, it's not gonna be on Zillow, it's not gonna be on Redfin, Realtor Guide, you're not gonna find, these are census tracts here. These are in Jackson County, and there's a bunch more counties in Missouri. So, Cass, Clay, any of the counties that you may be buying for the Missouri grant, these, for Jackson, these are and I'll show you where we find, census tract. You can find it, like, there's so many resources. Ask ChatGPT, I mean, probably find it for you.
Biggest advantage to doing the targeted areas used to be that rate. The rate used to be so much better, and it'll go back. Those rates are MHTC and then posted on MHTC and they changed. Right now they have them matching. I don't know why they did that, but usually there's a good rate advantage to buying in a targeted area. It is a good advantage.
So right now, the only difference is
Income.
the income requirement, or, okay.
Yeah, just if you need more income.
The income cap and the price cap. Yeah.
Right,
If you're buying
yes,
eight,
if you
$100,000.
wanna buy eight, if you're out, if you're gonna go buy an $800,000 duplex.
It's a little out there.
Okay. So, we had, we posted, so, I don't know, if you all are not on our Facebook page, you should be. We post really great houses all the time. And, this is a house we posted this week at 4121 Montdal. We are looking for beautiful, cool, great neighborhoods, houses under 200,000. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, we don't know anything else about this house. Well, I know a little bit more because I've done some investigating. But when we post these houses, I'm gonna tell you, we don't know anything about the mechanics of the house, the history of this house, we don't know any of that yet. All right, so just because it's pretty, and this is really a pretty house, does not mean it's a great house for you to buy. Okay, so, and I find out, I'm going to tell you exactly how this went down this week with this house, because I knew I was going to use this as an example in our workshop. When you go to our Facebook page, it's Urban Cool KC
Real estate.
is it real estate.
Mhm.
Oh, right here. Yeah. Facebook.com, Urban Cool KC Real Estate, and you'll see our houses posted. We'll have a link that takes you to our website. On that website is another mortgage calculator, so you can do it right there. So you don't have to pull up Carl's. Carl's is more for us designed as we're going through houses together. That helps us to do. We're not going to go to our website, but this will do. So I'm going to show you how we did that on this house. Okay, so. All right, now, so I went and did, pretty. So you say to me, Franny, I want to go look at this house. I pull it up and this is the next thing I do on MLS. First, I want to look at the history of, if this house has been on the market for a while, I want to know what's going on, number one. Two, I need to find out, well, first I want to know when it was last sold and how much it sold for, because that can tell me if it's a renovated flipped house or not. Not all flipped houses are bad, but many of them are. I also need to get the taxes. Lordy.
I know.
It's not as high as they are in most of the city, but that used to be, like 2 years ago, that was probably 300 something. So that's starting to push. This is the one thing that is making it harder for us, is we used to be able to do this much easier, but man, these taxes, and you can't count on taxes not going up. So if you're getting your monthly payment all down nice and tight, mortgage isn't going to go up,
No, mortgage will stay the same.
but taxes will probably go up and insurance will probably go up. Now, if you put your mom on your loan, you can freeze it. You know you can freeze your house, right? Taxes, you know that? Okay. Okay. If you're 65 or older, you can, you gotta be retired. You can't stick, if you're still working, you can't. But you can freeze taxes if you're 60. So if you know of anybody in your family or circle that is 65 or older, get them to freeze those taxes. Okay. So those are gonna go up. Taxes are gonna get, so I want to love Kansas City, or I want to think Kansas City is still an okay place to live in. So on one hand, damn those taxes, and it makes us feel, but the reason they're going up is because people are loving coming and moving into Kansas City, which brings more income, more vibrancy. And honestly, if we could manage it right, that money is going to start making our schools better too. More people who are moving into the city and those taxes, that we could get more money for schools and police and all that then make that, it all works out eventually. It's just not right now. Like, we're really in that gap and struggling as a city, I believe, but it's coming, I think, because we're just raising these taxes. So it's one of those, you pay taxes, sucks, but if we can see it actually contributing to the overall community, then you can kind of go, okay, but regardless. Okay, so I bring this up so I can see, I gotta get our tax number, and I also want to see how many days on market. So you guys have you'll never see it. You might see it on Zillow. I don't know if Zillow tells you.
I think so, yeah.
So CEOM is current days on market. DOM is days on market. What?
Cumulative days on market.
So it's only because, and this says it's canceled, it's not canceled, but CDOM is the entire time it's been on the market. Currently, by this, it was recently canceled and been brought on the market, and it's only been on the market for 5 days. So it can be, you can look at it, and I'm telling you this because Zillow may actually just put it 5 days. I think that's what it does. It doesn't do the CDOM. If it looks like a new listing, that's what Zillow's going to do. So why do you care about this?
why is it not selling?
Okay, that is the first, that's a good question, but I have an even better answer to that with our mission and goal. Most of the time, it's probably been under contract. In this market, I'm telling you, it's probably already been under contract and got canceled, and now there could be an inspection report available for us, which now saves you $500 for an inspection if it's a good inspecting company. And we can look at that inspection report and decide what's going on. We can also ask the listing agent if the seller has fixed anything from the inspection report or open to fixing anything. We can also look at the inspection report and go, no, moving on. Otherwise, we're walking through the house going, and then we gotta pay $500 to get inspected. By that time, you've put $1,000 down for earnest money deposit. You're going through a whole process, and we would like to keep you from having to do that. So we kind of like these houses been on the market for a while because it gives us information for you and could save you money. It also could rain on your parade because then it could be not a really great house in the process. So when I saw this activity, so here it starts down here. It started out on July 31st as a new listing at $189. They decreased the price in 2 weeks to $179. Another price decrease, $169. So typically when I see that, I can kind of tell by the look of the house anyway. It's a flipped house. Plus, it's owned by 770 Poland. What a stupid name.
It tells you all you need to know about the company, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Typically, if it's company owned, it's a flipped house. Just enjoy. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's about, look, my husband and I have renovated, I don't like to call it flip when we do it. Over the last 15 so years, we've renovated 8 houses. We're not doing that anymore. We got tired of it. But we did it right. Like, we replaced furnace and heaters and hot water heaters and fixed roofs and you know, plumbing and stuff. Most renovators just make it look pretty, lipstick on a pig, right? So, and it gets you in the house, and it's you know, that's what they want to do, but then you start snooping around and it's not. So not all are bad, okay? There are some good ones out there, so we just have to do a little bit more investigating. Okay, go ahead and move forward. Oh, so wait, so when so my apologies. So it went under contract September 4th, and then came back on market October 11th. So that was that was a long time. Typically, if a house is going to fall through because of inspections, it's comes back on the market much quicker, within 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. So I would have guessed, before I talked to the agent, which I did, that there was financing issues in this, that the buyer's financing fell through. So they come back on the market, drop the price. It went under contract November 17th, and then within a week, it was back on the market. So that was probably inspection issues. So I sent the agent an email. Hey, what's up? Got somebody interested in this house. Do you have an inspection report? Why did the last 2 contracts fall out? Now, you would think all realtors have great integrity and will just tell you everything, right? So she just emailed me back very simply. First one was buyer financing fell through. Oh, really? Second one, they wanted a gas stove, and it's only electric stove was the reason they backed out. Then I said, okay, well, can we see the inspection report? What's day? That was Wednesday. Still have not seen the inspection report. Now, that could be 3 things in my mind. It could probably be more than 3. One, they're hiding something and they don't want us to know about it. 2, it's a lazy realtor, just like, whatever, that happens, believe me. 3, the seller doesn't want her to send. So it's not always the agent. Sometimes sellers do things and the agent gets blamed for it. I know. So what do I do with this, right? What do we, like, if you guys were, somebody was interested, do we go look at it? What do we do? I mean, I would still at this point, because we don't know it's bad. There's a little bit of an assumption it is. What I, but we're not putting in a contract until we see the inspection report. Going to look at a house is free. Putting in a contract is not. We're gonna go through the steps of the process of buying a house. And one of those steps is putting earnest money deposit down. And that's not like, you know, how sometimes when you go put a deposit down at an apartment complex or whatever, and they just kind of hold it for a while until you actually move it. No, the money goes, it's gone, it's out of your account. It comes back later to you in closing, so it's not like you just give away that money forever, but for that moment, it's gone. And if you're, you know, saving money and all that, that's hard to, you know, let that money go. You'll get it back. If we don't have an inspection report, then you're gonna have to do an inspection, and then we'll find out probably what they found out before. Do people have to release inspection reports? What do you think?
Yeah.
Do they have to be filed with the city?
Nope. They don't have to be filed with the city. They don't. Ethically, in all our classes we take in ethics and we're like, you've got to, it's common knowledge now, you've got to release it or you're gonna get stuck in that. So we could, as realtors, if we've seen the inspection report, we're like, well, if we haven't seen the inspection report, that might be a different story. But if we've seen the inspection report, like that realtor, if she's seen the inspection report and there's issues, I'm asking for what's going on with this house. And if she's not telling me what's going on with this house, she is liable and can be turned into the real estate police, basically. It's not big police, but she can lose her license, she could be fined. There's some things about it. If I wanted to pursue it, I could do that. But legally, they don't have to share that inspection. Me, when I represent a seller, I'm like, we're gonna share that because what,
Or they can fill it all out themselves. Might as well just put it on
yeah,
there.
we're just gonna, if they do inspections, we're gonna find this stuff again. Like, why are we delaying this? There's no point, well, there's no point in not sharing inspection reports. I mean, maybe I'm gonna wait till March when the market gets hot again and people just come in and buy it anyway. I don't know. I don't think so. But all right. Any questions on? I'm going to pull up an inspection report to show you if you've never seen one. It can be daunting, by the way. So this is from our website, the mortgage calculator. So and when I say if you click on the link from our Facebook page and go to your house, this is the monthly house that we just had. I have a number wrong in here. No, I put that here. No, this is taxes and insurance together. So taxes are about $98 a month, and insurance I got from right over 60 something. 63, yeah. The number I got wrong is 5.9.
Yeah,
Actually 5.75.
A little overshot, but that's
Yeah.
better than
Okay, so if you wanted to put 20% down on this house, you had it, maybe you had some money from the house you sold, some equity, inheritance, whatever, or it's been a break, saving up your money, you put 20% down, is $31,000. You get your, using the Missouri grant program, and you fit within the income criteria, you need to get 5%. And then your everything would equal, so principal and interest, $666, taxes and insurance, $151, estimated total payment, $817. That's the extreme. We do see people put 20% down, in our sphere, but, not common. All right, so instead, you're gonna go with the FHA 3.5%. This down payment, $5,425, Missouri grant is gonna pay for you. They also do 0.5% for closing costs, right?
We do.
Okay.
And it's 4% of the loan amount, so how much they give you.
Oh,
Percentage amount.
that's where I was thinking of the 0.5%.
Okay, so the loan amount is
155.
She's gonna do my math when we go.
149.
So you could, what Emily just said is, because I was thinking it was the closing costs, but you can actually get, FHA, you have to put 3.5% down. Missouri grant gives you 4%
Oh, the loan amount.
of the loan amount.
So it's just not quite the same, but they will give you 5,983 on this transaction. So part of it, all the down payment and part of your closing costs.
Can you say that again too?
Yeah, so on the one that you're using the down payment assistance, the Missouri grant program would give you basically almost 6,000, which would be partly for your down payment and then part of it would go towards your closing costs. And if you've got a motivated seller like this one that's been on the market forever, that seller is most likely going to allow you to
So if,
negotiate or
so
for her to
when they
negotiate.
help us with that, say $6,000 down payment, can we still like add our own to that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good question.
Great question.
And are you gonna talk about the
This,
how it's
this
forgivable?
part of the room is like on fire.
How it's, you need to say it a little
Oh, yes,
bit.
okay. No, but
No,
yes.
Yes, okay.
So again, what was, did you do the rest of it for me?
No, I didn't change the payment or anything,
Okay.
but it's close.
Yeah.
It'll be close.
So again, the tax and insurance are the same, 151. We just need to adjust the interest rate down to 5.75. So this is off a bit. So this will be a little bit lower. Over the whole 30-year part of the loan, it's going to be a lot of different. Tax and insurance the same. So just without PMI, mortgage insurance is $1,038, but we've got to add in mortgage insurance, and Ryan told me there would be about $68 on this. I don't know what they are. I can't do that on my own. You guys won't be able to either, I don't
When
think.
you find a house that you like, just text it to me too. I love running numbers, like more specific numbers on that certain house. But for FHA, mortgage insurance is 0.55% of the loan amount. But I will do that
This
for
is
you.
why it's so important for us to not do this solo, us having a lender,
Don't
because
memorize it.
we'll be out at the house and I'll be doing that Carl's mortgage. What's the mortgage insurance? And it's like, so the total is 1106, maybe a little bit lower because we did run interest rate. I mean, if this house has, not a falling down foundation and a 30-year-old roof and I don't know what else could be going on with this house, but, I mean, that's, I think within,
Negotiation piece.
there could be some negotiation. They've come down quite a bit. Now, couple things. With Missouri grant program, and you're using the down payment assistant part, it's like a second loan. It's really not a grant. It becomes a grant after 10 years. It becomes half a grant 5 years. It's a loan from day one. It's considered a second loan. And so what do I mean by that? It just means if you sell your house and move within the first 5 years, you have to pay that back. The down payment, the 3.5%, 4%. If half of that within the first 5 years. When does it?
It's
After 5 years.
After
Yeah,
5
5
years.
and under, they do the full, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
So
right.
5 and under, you have to pay the full back. Between 5 and 10 years, you do half. And then 10 years, you don't have to pay anything back. So some people have asked me in that situation, well, then I better find a house I'm gonna live in for 10 years. And I would say no. By the way, you know what the average length of time people live in a house?
3 to 5.
It used to be 7 years, it's actually getting closer to 10 years now. It's changed over the years. But, I'm always, I always have people saying, this is my forever home. I'm gonna die in this home. I'm giving it to my kids. Most of the time your kids don't want your house. Maybe they do.
Remembering too that you'll see appreciation in the value of the home. So I mean, by the time you're ready to move, you probably have gained enough in appreciation. But that's an important piece to keep in contact with us throughout your home ownership, because we can say, yeah, you have. This makes sense. You can sell this house, use the proceeds to pay this piece of it off. No money out of pocket, right? So it's not, you're not stuck. It's not a be all to end all.
You are probably not going to be stuck, but just when you start thinking about selling your house in 5, 6, 7 years for whatever reason you need to move, don't get in your head, oh, I'm going to get all this equity. No, you got to pay some of that back. Just keep that in mind. That's what you got to do. For the most part, you're not. Unless just something happens in the first year or so, that may be a challenge if you don't have money in savings. That's when you need to really, and that could happen. People do. Things happen. Life happens. So it can be a slight bit of risk. The way our market is going, though, even within a year or two, there's a good chance we can sell it and get almost enough to pay it back. To be honest, no guarantee on that, but there is that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much? What are you seeing in, like, how much are people putting down for a down payment? Like what? I mean, I guess it depends on what percent.
Right. Yeah. So it's so individualized. Most of the people are. We're in the. Most of the people we have. We have 2 categories of people. We've been doing this for 20 years. So we have people who have been with us for many years selling their houses and buying another house. So they have much more to put down. So that's a whole other category. First time home buyers, it's mostly 3.5%. We're mostly doing FHAs.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just because of this market, it's hard to, like, I would say 5 years ago, we probably had more people doing 5% down because the prices of houses were a lot less and they could actually afford the 5% down. So it's just changed. Prices have just gone up.
Okay.
So, yeah, go to the next one. I don't know if there's the next one. Oh, no, it's just that.
That's the image right for today.
Okay. What's the news? I don't think so. Okay, so, can you set this up? We're getting close to being done. I just want to show you, I want to show you where we find the census tract number. I want to show you the 10 steps of the process of buying a house, and we can go through it pretty quickly. It's not going to take but a few minutes. And,
Do you want to be? There we go.
The reason that some of you wanted to know the steps of the process, so I wanted to touch base on a few things in the step of the process, because one of the things that you got to be prepared for, I always say, if you're going to come in this and you're going to use the Missouri Grant Program to help you with down payment, you need at a minimum $2,000 in the bank. That's just what I think. Because you're probably going to need to pay for your own inspections. If we get lucky and we get an inspection report, that's great, but I don't count on that. You're going to have to put an earnest money deposit down, and that's usually 1% of the loan, or the sales price, not the loan. So if you're buying a $150,000 house to it, so that's where that extra, then you've got to have that money. Depending on which lender you use, you will also have to pay for the appraisal, which is about $625, is that what they are? Depends. Yours is 5? But Emily puts that into your closing cost, so you don't have to have that cash up front. But not every lender does that. If you happen to back out, the deal doesn't go through, it's something that they eat. So it's a real, she only does this to help this mission that we're on.
I just absorb that, and I take that risk. It's fine. Just don't do it. And I'll make sure you're pre-approved upfront, really well.
Oh, can pass out, so we've got, yeah, so this is just a little extra. This is the steps of the process. And and here's the steps of the process and tips from us on, that one.
So if you don't go through the grant program, how much does that change? Like the amount that you need
Like for a down
in the
payment?
bank? Or
Oh,
Yeah,
for the,
does that
so
change?
you still will need 1% of sales price.
Okay.
So an earnest money deposit, let me tell you what that is, why we do that. That money doesn't go to the seller, but it's guaranteeing to the seller, you've got skin in the game. 1% is kind of standard in our industry, what realtors and everybody just like, that's what you gotta have. Do you have to have that? No, we can get it down a little bit if you need a little wiggle room. It's all negotiable. It's not a have to, it's negotiable. But the more you can put down, the more the seller goes, okay, they're in it. You can get your earnest money deposit back. By the way, it does not go to the seller. You're not writing a check to the seller. You are writing a check, you're just wiring it actually. You're just going there and send it over to a title company. The seller and the listing agent have a title company set up that you send that money to. And that's held in their escrow account until closing. And then that comes back to you in a worksheet, basically, that is part of your closing costs. It gets applied to your closing cost. We're going to talk about closing costs, okay? Typically, you would also have to have, other than that $2,000, closing costs, which can be up to 3% of the sales price. It's not exact, but it can be up to 3%. So it could be up, if you're buying a $150,000 house, that's $4,500, right? We do everything we can to first find a house that we think the seller will pay your closing cost. In this market, it has not been as easy because houses move and there's multiple offers and so forth, but we are still working that. You can also, if the seller says we're not paying, no, we're not doing that, we can raise the price of the house to cover the closing costs, as long as it appraises at the higher price, and we have to talk about that. We know a little bit of where those lines are to make that happen, so that you don't have to pay that additional $4,000 to $8,000 if you're trying to do that. We're doing this in a year, y'all.
What happens if we get to that step in financing, there's something that falls?
Okay, great. So you get your earnest money deposit back. It's in the contract, the sales contract that is between you and the seller. There are 3 ways to get your earnest money deposit back. Number 1 way is if in inspections something comes up you don't like, you can back out and get your earnest money deposit back. That is a huge area that is up for interpretation. And sometimes the sellers say, no, I don't think that, no, our roof is fine. Yeah, it's 30 years old, but it's not leaking. So they could say, that's not a good enough reason to back out. It doesn't matter because they don't have the money. It's in an escrow account. What happens is it kind of comes between the 2 realtors at that point, fighting it out. We're fighting each other out at this point. And this is where it's so important to not just hire a new look, we have all been new realtors at one point. So you may have a new realtor in your life. And so I don't want to put anybody under the bus. We do not get trained on any of this in any kind of school. This is hard knocks learning. It's on the job learning. And it's relationship building with other realtors over the years. And so over the years, I know certain realtors and they know me, and we know we're gonna keep doing deals together. And if I screw this one up, they're not gonna wanna work with me again. So if I say, we're not giving your, I represent a seller, the seller doesn't want to give the money back because we don't think that's a good enough reason. That realtor goes, what? It's in the contract. You really don't need a good enough reason. If something in the inspection report, it can be a faucet doesn't turn off right. You have a right by contract to pull out of that. Is it right? No. But again, who talks about that? The buyer and the sellers aren't talking about it, the realtors are talking about it. And we're like, come on, they went out. Sometimes we say, well, let's split the earnest money deposit. Sometimes, I mean, we try to work it out to where it feels right for everybody, but sometimes they will not give it back. So you gotta be prepared for that. So that's why we're trying to do everything we can to prevent that. By the way, one of the ways I do it, we have 5 days in Missouri to turn your earnest money deposit in. After a contract is accepted, and you better believe I'm getting us in on an inspection before 5 days is up. So we can know anything going on that is going to be a problem. So we don't even want to test those waters with the seller. We don't even want to like find out the seller's going to be, not great with getting that, agreeing to having that come back to you. So if both parties can agree, that money actually sits in that escrow, the title escrow account for a year, and then it goes to charity. So I will tell you, it's one of the things as realtors we are like hound dogs about. Like, we really want to protect your earnest money deposit as much as we can, but there is a chance. There's just a bit of chance that we can do all that, and we're working with a new realtor, we're working with someone that's not great to work with. It's a great question. Second reason you can back out and get your earnest money deposit is if your financing changes and it's not your fault. Get fired from a job, something just happens. You get sick, anything that changes in your life that you didn't have anything to do with, it's going to make it hard now for you to buy the house. You by contract can back out and get your earnest money deposit. That can get a little gray.
Yeah.
Like, what, is that really a good reason? Do we have people backing out just because they decide they didn't like the house? All the time. That's why I like sometimes you'll go look at a house and you fall in love with the house. I want it, let's get it, let's do it, we start going through the process, and then you go back for inspections and you're like, now you're really looking at the house. And you go, well, wait, when I sit down on the toilet, my knees get wet, and there's nowhere, how are we gonna move this toilet around? You don't know, like, you're not sitting down on the toilet when you're looking at a house, right? You don't know these things that's why I want to get that done before you turn that money in. Really, that's what we should be doing on the first visit, but we just don't. We just don't do that. Maybe we should do that more often, but when we're in that inspection period, that's when you will go, okay. And there are times when people just go, dang, I didn't know that back porch where the washer and dryer is not heated. It just comes out in the process. Okay. Those three, did answer your question on that? Okay. So these are just basic ways. What I have in this handout, these are our extra tips for you from us. Already been talking about that. But here, just real quick. So we've already been talking today about such your financial situation, get pre-approved for mortgage, hire a realtor. By the way, now with, I don't know if y'all have heard of the NAR National Association of Realtors, settlement. We now have to have a buyer's agreement in place with you before we can show you a house. In the past, we could just go show you a house and then we could sit down and do a buyer's agreement. In that buyer's agreement, you have to agree that every realtor's different. On our team, we get paid 3% commission. The settlement with people selling their houses now, it's not a given that the seller will pay the buyer's agent 3% commission. Or whatever commission they're asking for. It could be 2%, it could be less than 3%, it could be more than 3%. That now has to be negotiated in the sales contract. So that's changed. In the buyer's agreement that you will, and we'll sit down when it's time and we'll go through that with you together in detail, but we're saying to you, we have to give, we don't get, just show, I love showing houses and like helping you out, but I also need to get paid. And so if you find a house you fall in love with and the seller's not paying our commission, by contract you have to pay our commission. Now we can put that into closing costs, we can do some things about it, we can raise the price, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we as realtors are asking realtors, before we go show the house, is the seller gonna pay for a buyer's commission? It's just up in the air now, nobody knows until we ask. And some of the realtors say, it's negotiable, so we still don't know. Some say, yeah, they're paying it. On our listing agreements now, they have to say, I'm paying it, it's negotiable, I'm not paying it. So it's in a document somewhere that listing agent knows. And most of the time, since that came about in August, this last year, I will say I've had one situation where they were only going to pay 2%, but I was selling this couple's house and I agreed to accept the 2% because I was also selling their house and it was a good deal all the way around. It was a win-win for all of us. I have currently a seller who is not in Overland Park, not out here, who will not pay the buyer's agent commission on a $625,000 house.
Still for sale?
It's still for sale, and this is what I told you would happen. We had an offer, the buyer's agent put his commission into he didn't ask me, he should have called and asked me, I would have told him. But he put his commission into the sales contract. My seller said, you can do it, but you're gonna have to raise the price to cover your commission. And the buyers couldn't do it, and so they lost out on that house. So I can't tell you exactly what's gone down. For the most part, we are finding people are still paying our commission. The sellers are still mostly paying our commission. Otherwise, we'll work it out. But it's important. So these buyer's agreements used to be not necessary to start looking at houses. You can, even like on Zillow, like we get people call us from Zillow, even when we're showing somebody out of the blue, we don't know them, they want to go look at a house, we still have to have a buyer's agreement with them before we go show a house. You can go look at open houses and not have a buyer's agreement. That's the only place that you can still go take a look without having an agreement with somebody. We don't know how this is being enforced yet, by the way. I've been showing houses.
It really just doesn't make sense.
There's nobody around. Yeah, there's nobody around going.
Yeah.
Because in our contracts were the same before, so it didn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
It already said that prior.
Okay. Hire, it's getting, really need to hire, as soon as you can find somebody you trust, you should hire a real estate agent. You can start house hunting. Look, what we would prefer to do before you start the house is come back here, and we're gonna bring up this again. If we had more time today, we would go ahead and do that, but we're talking folks. But we wanna sit down first and scope out neighborhoods and houses, and it will save us all time if I can show you, here's the neighborhoods, here's some targeted neighborhoods, here's where, here, and by the way, we don't just do East Side. Look, we do North Kansas City, we've been doing Gladstone and a lot of areas north. It's become, Gladstone and around is very affordable. So we're doing that a lot. We do a lot of KCK. There is a Kansas grant program that's like the Missouri grant program, because we don't go over it because there's not enough time. So we do other parts of the city, but I want to, like, we can make this a better process all the way around before we actually start going out and looking at houses, so we can get more details about that. So you go out and then you make an offer. The offer you make is on a 16-page contract that we will go through with you the first time, show you everything in it. We don't write the contracts, they're written by attorneys. We just sign, we tell you what's in the contract. Then it goes to the seller, they come back with, they accept it, or they come back with a counter, and then you negotiate back and forth with the counter. Then once it's actually accepted, then, and that's, by the way, once all parties have signed either the sales contract or the counter, is when what we call the execution date starts, and everything is based on execution date from then. Our 5 days to turn in the earnest money deposit starts from that, and we get very specific about those dates. So the listing agent will be hounding me if I don't have that earnest money deposit in within that 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reminding you, this is the date that we gotta do. Then usually you have 10 days for your inspection. So you can get the inspection done within 5 days and feel like, okay, it's okay. But you still have another 5 days to work through it and figure out what you're gonna ask from the seller to repair. So then that's the next thing. We're going to conduct inspections and negotiate what you want. We have a form that we fill out called the Resolution of Unacceptable Conditions. It's very formalized. We send that over to the seller. This is what we want fixed. They come back, we negotiate that. There is another 5-day negotiation period in between resolution being sent in and that being negotiated. Sometimes people need to go get a contractor to come over, see how much that's gonna cost, et cetera, before they agree to it. If you can also ask for money instead of repairs, you can ask for closing costs, you can ask for sales price drop. There are many ways to negotiate repairs. If you can live with it for a while, then it might be a way to get a little extra money into your loan in the process. Then once inspections, usually we kind of wait for inspection period to be done before we tell Emily, order the appraisal, because we don't want that appraisal being paid if you guys are not gonna buy the house because of inspections. So we don't want those money to go. So then the appraisal comes out. One thing you gotta know about if you're doing FHA, the appraiser is more strict. They're gonna require a few more things than a conventional loan, not a lot. But if the house has peeling paint, if it doesn't have handrails, if the basement is flooding, it's about safety and environmental condition that the appraiser has to make a request. And you can't be the one to fix it. The seller has to be the one to fix it before closing. Because the appraiser has to come back out and check off on it before the loan can close. And then once the appraisal part is done, then it goes into final underwriting, and then we get what's called a clear to close. Is that when you lock in the interest?
I do it fine in this market, but.
So we have a lock-in interest rate. That's important to know, and it's something I'll talk with Emily or Linda about, that can happen at any point in this process, but you gotta get it done before you close. Then we set you up with our title company. We don't use the listing title company, by the way, where your money's sitting, your earnest money deposit. We have our own title company, and we do that for a reason. Your title needs to be clear
Mhm,
and clean.
mhm.
No mechanic liens, no Aunt Lucy was promised this house when it got sold. We want a clean title. The listing side, their title company is not as scrupulous as our title company is going to be. Does that make sense? So we separate those two. We do not. And at closing table, you do not close with the seller. You're not like, no, TV, it shows sometimes you're all together at a closing table and all of a sudden everybody's happy. You're like, no, we honestly want to keep you apart as long as we can. You can go talk to them after. The reason, I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons realtors exist is to keep the emotions out of the process. Because emotions get really hot, not the good temperature hot we've been talking about, but if things start going wrong and someone didn't they fixed it, but they didn't fix it the way you wanted it fixed, and I mean, deals fall through when buyers and sellers start talking to each other. So we definitely don't want you at the closing table together. You would think you'd want to, it's like, oh, I want, it's that emotional, we're passing off the house to each other. No. More deals fall apart when buyers and sellers talk to each other. So you will come to our closing company and sign your paperwork. Emily may be there, she may not be, she tries to be. She'll be there, she can be. I'll be there if I can be, Marissa will be there. It's a big party for us, we love it, right? We give you a party, champagne and cake and gifts, we got lots of t-shirts and cups and things we give you. And then, so you close, it takes our closer, it's 30-minute close. Other closers, it's 60-minute close. We have one of the best closers, she's fantastic. From the time you start, have a signed contract to the time of closing, it's really negotiable, but you can do it in 30 days, right? It just depends on what's going on in your life, what's going on with the seller. That's because seller may need a little extra time to go buy a house, and so they ask for 45 days or 60 days. So it's not always a clear-cut 30 days, but it can. We mostly do 30-day closings, just in general. Now you need to know too if you're paying rent somewhere, and it's like, well, when does my payments start, and how does that all work? So if you're closing in the first part of the month, your first payment will not be due until, so listen, if you close February 1st, your first actual mortgage payment is not due until April 1st. You pay interest, right? They pay the interest, but that comes in the closing. That'll be at closing table. You don't send a check later. So you will have a month. So we try to get you to close at the first of the month because that gives you that buffer. Close the last of the month and you're gonna,
It's the same.
it's the same, never mind. So, so that gives you time to, because some people come and they're still, like, they have to get their 60-day
Yes.
to get out of their lease or finish their lease or whatever, and it's tricky. So just know you gotta usually have a month to play that out. Okay, that's the steps of the process. Any questions?
And you, I'm gonna make sure I get this question right. So, say you find a house that you like, and you make an offer. From making an offer to getting to step 8, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
How long does that usually last? Going through like the appraisals and the.
Yeah, that's a good question. About 3 weeks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually 2 weeks for inspections and negotiation for the repair request, another week for appraisal to come in, and then another week for underwriting.
Oh, so I guess I remember the execution date till
Correct.
till you get to 8 is about 3 weeks.
It's about 8, yes. Yeah, about 3 weeks, right.
Okay.
Yeah, because they need their final, they're looking at the appraisal, finally looking at doing some final things with you to get the final underwriting approval. Emily doesn't do the final approval, she has an underwriter that does the final approval, that everything is in order, nothing's out, so she's gotta wait for that. She closed you today.
Everybody's engaged, yes.
So that's the last step.
Okay.
And here, I want to point something out to you. This is something that I think you should do. So this is on the second page, under step 5, interviewing realtors. I don't think you should interview lenders. I think you should just use Emily.
Yes, I agree with her. Same with realtors.
And the reason why I bring this up is because, listen, y'all, we know that everybody has 3 to 5 realtors in their life. You just do. There's too many of us saturated. There's 17,000 realtors in Kansas City. The numbers probably changed by now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think
It's like 12,000. They're getting out. There's no first-time home buyers. You lose a lot, anyway. So, as soon as you let out, you're thinking about buying a house, you may already have, it's okay. They're coming out of the woodwork. There could be people in your life, you should use, do. It's what it is, okay? So, one of the biggest things that is hard to do is to tell somebody you know and love that you're gonna use somebody else. It's like it's like, why would you go use somebody else? I'm your bud or whatever. Well, first off, you shouldn't use anybody close because it could ruin that relationship. Second, depending on where that person is in their career as a realtor and whether they're full-time or not, and whether they're working the neighborhoods you're wanting to look in, and whether they know these grant programs and have a great lender like Emily and Ryan, you could really get hurt in the process. Or you not get there's a lot of things that go down. Realtors do not learn how to be a good realtor, I'm gonna say, for at least 5 years. It's just an on-the-job deal. So you first gotta, if they're a new realtor and they're your bud, make sure they've got good mentorship. Make sure they have somebody that's real, not just someone that they're on a team. Being on a team does not mean good mentorship. So I give this to you not just to interview, like, here are the questions you should ask. Like, here are the questions. And you can go to your bud and you can actually use this sheet. And you can say, look, I love you, but let's talk about these things. And I want to use you, but I need to, this is a very, my financing is tight. I need somebody experienced. I need to, do you understand that? It really comes down to, like, you may want to pick us, but you can't. Because somebody's in your life that wants you to pick them. And then how do you have that conversation? That's the hard part. Because some people know they don't want to hire their first year cousin who doesn't know anything yet, who probably won't be in the business. By the way, first year realtors drop out at 80%. 80% of first year, it's just a very hard business to make it. Within the second year, another 50%. So when I say 5 years, that's when you know they're in it for a career. They're in it, they're doing it, they're committed. That's to me, that's a line. Somewhere between 3 and 5 years, they start really kind of getting it. And if they're part-time, that's another challenge. If they're part-time, it's hard to do this part-time, that's all. You can do it, but it's hard. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you that as, whether you hire us or somebody else, but you gotta tell your bud, I'm not hiring you and here's why. This gives you a few talking points, that's all, to help make that conversation go a little bit. This is the biggest financial decision you make. The biggest money that most of you spend, unless you own a business or so forth. It's a big money thing. you really wanna pick the right professionals to help you, guide you through the process. So I would think if they're your bud, if they're your family, they would get that. They would say, yeah, I want you. It's not about me and my commission and all that. It's about what you've got going. So, all right. So what's next? So after today, here's what's next. In your, like at the front of the package, you have QR code, you have all our information, okay? So you have Marissa and I's contact information. The QR codes that you can scan, these are our calendars. So you can schedule a call with us, a 30-minute call, an hour call, or you can schedule to come in and see us. Maybe you just have a few more questions. Yeah, don't, look, you can just text me. Look, you don't have to go book it. I don't need to be all fancy with the QR codes and all that, but I know some of you Gen Zs like love this. Let me do that. I'll be getting like, oh, they actually use that. On the next page is Emily and Ryan's contact information and their QR codes. Also, they like, sometimes it's just fun to, oh, I'll go pick this date. And then you can actually reschedule it and all that stuff. So we use Calendly to just kind of help that process. So that's the next thing if you want to work with us. We've got you signed up for Eventbrite, so we've got your email addresses. So we will be sending out notices of things coming up for ongoing, like what are we doing, like the cash flow game, the vision board. We're putting together a weekly Zoom call. We don't have that yet, but it's coming, where you can just pop in, just like, how's it going? Any questions? Do you need any help? Maybe you want to find a census code, a targeted area code. We can look it up for you. Anyway, we're going to try to do a 30-minute Zoom call weekly, just as a support. And then we're going to do these workshops every month. So next, we're going to alternate Thursday evenings and Saturdays. So next month, February 13th, is a Thursday evening meeting at 5:30 to 7. And then March 15th is another Saturday meeting at 11. We're playing around with times to see where they're at. So if you have anybody else that you're thinking about sending, let them know those dates are coming up. And I think I have that in here somewhere. If not, we'll follow up with you and send out what's coming up. All right. Look at your cards that you wrote. What, did you put them away? Did you get your question answered? Yes?
Yay.
What was yours? You didn't say, did you?
Would you like to know?
I'm sure I'll find out. Any may not get it answered that need any quick answer to, or, okay, good. I feel like from what I heard that we might get there. Okay. You guys have anything else?
I mean, just to your point, use the cell phone numbers. Text me, call me, whatever. Emily, Franny, Marissa, anybody, if you want to ask anything. Or sit down and have coffee and talk through anything. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's literally my entire job. Like I said, I do all the front end stuff, and I always make Emily do the hard work. But yeah, anything that you guys need or want, and there's no question too small and nothing silly to ask. Just ask.
Sometimes things just come up in conversation, so if we just sit and have coffee, it might pop up then, you know. So
Or even like you say, if something comes up, you're having a conversation with your buddy, text one of us and say, hey, I heard this, what about whatever?
fact. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, that's my friend.
just holler at us.
Okay, where's the temperature? Okay, thank you guys so much. Please take some donuts on your way out. I do not want to eat them, so please, donuts, muffins, cookies, or grab one on your way out. We'd love to move those on out the door, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah, so great. I'm so happy you guys came.
I